We are back with another Digging Deep. It's been a while since we've done one of these. I'm joined by Joe Gravel and Mikey Ramos. How are you guys doing? How are you doing first, Joe?
I'm great, man. I'm great. It's a nice, beautiful Wednesday, and we're here to talk about some Donald Cerrone, and I'm happy.
Mikey, how are you doing?
I'm feeling pretty good, pretty excited. It's one of my first times doing something like this, so I'm glad to be on it and ready to do it.
Oh, yeah.
So, crazy weekend. Donald Cerrone obviously does what he does, comes in, steps in on short notice, takes on a very, very dangerous Alex Morono, gets finished 6 times in a row now without a win. Heartbreaking. And I guess first things first, Joe, do you think he should keep fighting?
Yeah, I do think Donald Cerrone should keep fighting if he wants to keep fighting. I mean, I have that standpoint where who am I to tell him when he thinks he should stop? And I don't know how his body feels. I don't know how his brain feels. And if Donald feels like he can take another fight, I think Donald, he knows more about his body and himself than anybody else. So I would tell him that, to do so. But I think it should only be one more fight. And I think from being such a model employee and always taking fights like he just took Morono on short notice is why Dana White's willing to grant him something like that.
And your thoughts, Mikey?
I think he should continue fighting as long as he wants to. He loves it's his favorite thing to do besides his other activities that like hunting and other stuff like that. He's a pretty crazy guy, and I think he should continue fighting. I mean, if you look back at I think like 2 years back, he had his kid and he was on this like crazy win streak, beating Ally Quinta, doing all. It wasn't that far back, and he just had a short notice fight with Alex Morono, which he lost, and his other losses aren't coming from like bumps. They're really good fighters. They're all top level fighters. So I think just give him a quick break and he should be back in there back to like old school cowboy.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, you look at his losses: Tony Ferguson, Justin Gaethje, Conor McGregor, Anthony Pettis, Nico Price ended up being a draw. I thought he lost it, and then Alex Morono. So it's like 6 fights in a row he could have lost, but all of those guys are at welterweight. They're all bigger, with the exception of I think those 3 lightweights. But those 3 lightweights are like 2, 3, and 4 in the division. So it might be time to take a little step back. So before we go into detail about who we've got, let's look at the tail tape. So Donald Cerrone's 36 wins, 16 losses, 38 years old, 6 feet tall, 155 pounds, 73-inch reach, and obviously we're going to look at who we can match him up with. So he's still only 38. I thought he was a lot older than that.
No, 38's not too bad.
One thing I'd like to point out too, like Mikey said, that he fighting's his favorite thing to do outside of his other activities. I think Donald Cerrone used to look at fighting a lot differently than he did now. Kind of like that he could become a champion and that he wanted to rise through the rankings and the number next to his name meant something to him. But now I think he goes and walks into the octagon the same way he walks up to a motorcycle and hops on it to ride, the same way he gets on a horse. Like it's literally just one more added adrenaline pumping activity. And he's like, oh, I can go fight. So the way that this guy just treats that like a hobby now, I think is insane. I think that's very courageous. I don't know if that's dangerous, but it's some badass shit that he just treats fighting like, oh, let's go paintballing. Well, let's go have a fist fight. I mean, it's crazy. He's come that far along in his career. Where now he's so ready, he can just go walk into a cage.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I think the key thing here is that's who we have to match him up with. We can't match him up with a guy like Dustin Poirier who's trying to become champion, or a guy like Khabib, or one of these guys that's their goal. We should match him up with someone similar who's either coming up in the ranks, just trying to build a name, but doesn't have their eyes set on the title, or someone who just does it as a hobby, very similar to Cowboy Cerrone. So with that being said, I'll start with you, Mikey. Who do you have for him?
Me personally, I think that I really think that any veteran, he could fight any veteran, and have a good fight with them, a good fight of the night. It could be like a co-main type of fight, and he could fight like a Joe Lozon. He could fight just any 155er that's been doing it for a long time, just like he has. He doesn't need to fight a killer, young up-and-comer. But to counter what I just said, I really think he has a good potential matchup with Uros Medic. I believe that's how you say his name. He's a talented kid. He's coming up, and he has the potential to become really, I believe, a really big star. You could tell with his not his post fight talk with Joe Rogan. If you guys want to go back and look at that, he was really he wasn't shy with the camera. You know what I mean? So giving Medic that opportunity, if Cowboy beats him, Cowboy's a solid veteran. Nothing against Medic. He just needs some more time. But if Medic could beat him, it could be a potential stepping stone for Medic and Cowboy, just another payday to do something that he loves, win or lose.
I like that. And the fight with Medic, that reminds me of when he took on Alexander Hernandez, and Hernandez was an up-and-comer. He's young. I think a lot of people thought, it could go bad for Cerrone on that one, and he taught him a lesson. I think he really helped Hernandez's career out by giving him that loss. I think Joe Lozon's an excellent pick. That's the fight I would like to see the most for Donald Cerrone. A lot of people, when they think about Donald Cerrone, they think about this like Muay Thai striker who, he throws a lot of punches, a lot of kicks, but he's got 17 wins by submission. He only has 10 wins by TKO, KO. So, I mean, if you go back to his WEC days and his early days, Cerrone's more of a submission artist than he is a knockout artist, and that's what Joe Lozon does well. So Joe Lozon's also the type of guy who'll punch you right in the face like he did Melvin Guillard. So that's a great fight. I think that would be awesome. But another fight I'd be super interested in seeing is Bobby Green versus Cerrone. I think Bobby Green's still a little bit faster. Like as they've aged, I think his hands are a little bit quicker. He could give Cerrone some problems, but I think Cerrone could get very inspired for that fight, very pumped up and ready for that one. Because Bobby Green's a decent name, and they both have they were supposed to fight back in 2014. So I think that would be cool. Both of those matchups.
Yeah, I mean, I like both. I like the thought of potentially giving him an up and coming. He went on a 7-fight winning streak at one point, just fighting up and coming guys. And I think that's a great way to just kind of get his mojo back, right? If he wants to do this for more than 1 or 2 more fights, why not have him do something like that? So Uros Medic makes sense. I have Mike Davis, who just had his big win over Mason Jones. He's willing to fight, which is what Donald Cerrone wants, a guy who's willing to come and get in your face. And I think stylistically that's an amazing fight. And if Mike Davis or Uros Medic win a fight like that, it jumps him up to, just outside the rankings, which would be huge. I also had Clay Guida, which, as we know, a legend of the sport as well, Hall of Famer with his fight with Diego Sanchez. So 2 Hall of Famers going at it, win or lose, both guys could walk off into the sunset after that fight. And they've never fought before, which to me was kind of surprising. So I like that fight. But like you guys said, it could be either way. And with Donald Cerrone, it all really depends on what he's looking at, whether he wants to go on a 9-fight tear again, or if he just wants to fight once or twice more and call it quits.
Yeah.
Cerrone versus Clay Guida would be excellent. That would be a great fight, man. I could picture, Cerrone knee right down the middle. Clay's a little short. Cerrone with a head kick. Clay Guida maybe trying to get him in a guillotine or something. That'd be a great fight.
Yeah, I think it'd be more like what he did to Jim Miller. I think that would be the outcome of that fight.
Yeah, that's a good matchup.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and that's the thing. That division is so stacked. There's so many fighters in there, and the fact that Donald Cerrone hasn't crossed paths with Bobby Green, Joe Lozon, and Clay Guida, to me is startling. There's 3 legends right there that Donald Cerrone hasn't fought. So there's still some options available for him, and I like all 3.
Yep. And this is at 155. If he was willing to go back up to 170, I know he's saying 155, but as we know in MMA, anything can happen. I'd love to see 2 rematches where I think Donald could still fare well. I'd like to see maybe a possible rematch with Matt Brown or Robbie Lawler. I think those fights could be cool too. But I know he wants to stay at 155, and I'm just talking hypothetically.
Those are good. Those are good matchups. I really enjoy those. Another one that would be pretty good at 170 would be my personal favorite would be Carlos Condit. He's coming off a win. I think it'd be a good fight, a good fight of the night, potentially a fight of the year. That one sounds pretty fun to watch.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love all those matchups. And that's the thing about Cowboy is you can pretty much hand him any contract with any name on it, and he's willing to sign it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, is there anything you guys want to add before we wrap this up?
You're right. He's a different breed, though, Sergio. He'll sign we got to appreciate the guys like the Jim Millers and the Donald Cerrones now while they're still here. Like even Diego Sanchez, just guys who'd fought 30-plus fights and just they're down to sign on the dotted line no matter who stands in front of them. You went over Donald Cerrone's record earlier, like Anthony Pettis, Conor McGregor, Justin Gaethje, Tony Ferguson. It's just unreal, the murderous row he's been through. He's got like the RDA record. It's just unreal. So we got to appreciate these guys while they're still here. I don't care who he fights. That's dope.
For sure.
Absolutely. Well, that's it for this episode. Be sure to tune in for more. We're probably going to start bringing these back and do more of these.